Welcome in. You are listening to another episode of the What's Next podcast. You today are going to do some serious learning about e-commerce, which is exciting because so am I. We're going to call Jules or Julian from Shopify and find out a few of the things that we should know that perhaps we don't yet know. I know that a lot of people are now using Shopify, or they are thinking about getting into that e-commerce space, or they have a friend that uses it and they've purchased from it, all these different types of things. And I thought we would go straight to the horse's mouth and find out from one of the people that knows more about Shopify than all of us combined, and find out what we can be doing to ensure that we've got everything working properly, and just a good resource for people who are considering diving into the e-commerce space as well. And we'll see what we can learn. So we'll get Jules on the line.
Julian speaking.
Julian, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
G'day, Luke. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, very, very well, mate. And excited to talk to you because you are just an absolute master when it comes to Shopify. So we're going to pick your brains big time today.
I don't know about master, man. Far out. That's a big label. But yeah, sure, let's take it.
So you are the Senior Community Manager for Shopify here in New Zealand. What does that entail as such?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my job is to help merchants that are on our core platform, which is basically everybody not an enterprise at enterprise level, to help them make more money on the platform. And so I do that in multiple ways. I meet with business owners and help them with their e-com business strategy. Usually it's just pointing out a few things that they might not see themselves, and then kind of setting some homework. And then the other thing that I kind of known for is I put on some main events. On some amazing events. No, so I run a thing every Monday called Monday Merchant Meetups, and so that's from 11 till 12:30, nearly every Monday. Usually, only Mondays we miss is usually public holidays or mental health days. Yeah. And those topics, what it is it's basically a bunch of Shopify merchants that meet up between 11 to 12:30 every Monday, and we have some sort of guided topic conversations around 5 things. We talk about how to increase traffic to our websites, how to increase conversion, and how to increase retention. And then we typically talk about the Shopify platform itself, because it's constantly evolving. It's always just growing. And then the fifth thing is just business knowledge, just general business chatter. What people do in their business that maybe we can learn from. So there's that. And then the other thing that I do as well is I run larger webinars, usually with Shopify masters or experts, the real people that do the real amazing stuff, and then bring them to New Zealand virtually, and hopefully next year in real life. And those could be things from email marketing, search engine optimization, general business stuff, just whatever our merchants need and require. I kind of go looking.
Wow,
for. That's it. So usually, putting on events and just doing business strategies really, and just trying to help merchants either learn from Shopify or learn from each other.
That's awesome, mate. Shopify is so much more than just an e-commerce platform. After hearing that, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know if the people listening to this, if you've done an intro about like what I do or who I am, but I've been running a Shopify business since 2012, and the reason I decided to go and work for Shopify is because it was more than that. It's a whole operating system for business essentially, and it does have a lot of crazy amounts of resource actually in terms of how to best practice, e-com best practice. It's pretty awesome company to be involved with, and it's definitely I know I don't know if you're allowed to tell people that, but you're our accountant, Luke. So
there we go. The cat's out of the bag. Yeah, you certainly.
Oh, it is. Whoops.
You certainly do. No, it's completely fine, mate. It's completely fine. But that's from your business side of things. But then you also have this job, which you've just been explaining, right? And before I forget, mate, can anybody come to these events 11 till 12:30 on a Monday? Like sign up to register to come along?
Yeah, like the Monday Merchant Meetups one are really there for Shopify merchants. We're not gonna turn people away, but it would be, I've created this thing so it's quite a support group for Shopify merchants. So preferably, you could always just sign up for a free trial and then come along with you and register. But yeah, then most of the other events are for anybody, and we would never ever send anyone away. But yeah, the Monday one is preferred to be a Shopify merchant.
And so there'll be people listening to this that are Shopify merchants that probably don't even know that it exists, right? So can they find a way to register and come along on a Monday?
Yeah. So all you need to do is come to shopifyaoaotearoa.co.nz. That's our hub. That's the Shopify hub, and all our events are there. That's where you can also book a time to meet with me for a strategy meeting. It's all on there.
Wicked. So your time for Shopify merchants is effectively free in order to help them improve their usage of the software and the platform, right?
100%. Yeah, it's all free. Yeah, everything's free.
Yeah, and Shopify pay you in return to do that. Outstanding. What mate, through this latest lockdown, I'd imagine you've just gotten even busier. Like, is there some key themes that you've seen since the introduction of COVID into the world, and specifically for New Zealand businesses that are getting into e-commerce?
Yeah, well, there's definitely been a rush to get online. I think people that have put it in there and on the back burner have brought it to the front, and so that's definitely a thing that I've seen a lot. A lot of people just going, oh man, this thing that's been just too hard is now a requirement, because otherwise we might have to can the dream.
Yeah.
So that's been a big one. But though with the extended lockdown though, there's definitely been a lot more advertising around click and collect. So use of that, especially if you've been based in Auckland. What's been happening is there's been a pretty uncanny delay with shipping. I don't know, Luke, if you've ordered anything from Auckland and anything's been delayed for a period of time.
Oh yeah.
So people that are merchants in Shopify merchants in Auckland, they are starting to utilise their click and collect more. So bypassing the courier. And then being able to go and pick that up easily. It's been pretty handy. As a merchant myself, I've been using that, and we've been having about anywhere between 20 to 50 orders today for people picking up.
Wow! So
instead of using the courier, which is amazing, because it's effectively helping. It's saving courier fees for us and for our customers.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that as like an overarching lesson there, where things could be changing for people, where people are more willing to pick things up, because it's probably going to be cheaper and perhaps faster when courier things and routes aren't working the way that they historically have.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you've I follow NZ Post because I'm a customer of theirs, and they just announced that this lockdown has been has seen higher volumes than Black Friday, Cyber Monday last year. Now, if you don't know what Black Friday, Cyber Monday is, it's the largest e-commerce selling period over a 4-day period, which just sends ridiculous amounts of packages all over the place. And New Zealand Post has seen that type of volume for the last 8 weeks, which is putting a real strain on their system, that there are no more vans in Auckland that they can hire to send product around Auckland region, and they have expectations that the delays are probably going to get worse. So as a strategy for someone in e-com right now, if your main market, which is pretty much everybody, your main market is in Auckland and you are based in Auckland, a big strategy would be click and collect, buy it and pick it up same day. And also another strategy would be order now to avoid disappointment for Christmas.
Yeah.
And that would be my main marketing advice. I wouldn't be necessarily advertising discounts. I'd be advertising, we've got stock right now, you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
Yeah, bit of scarcity there. And it's true, right? Because that's literally what people are being faced with.
Yeah, it's uncanny. Like, as a Shopify store owner, I've still got products sitting on a boat, and I don't know when it's going to arrive. It's been sitting around at least for 8 weeks. So yeah, if you're one of the lucky merchants that has product, then I would be promoting it, because your customers are experiencing that as well.
Yeah. It's a huge problem across everything. Mate, I want to get into some of the things that are going to help people improve their Shopify and e-commerce experience. When you're having these catch-ups with business owners week in, week out, what are the top sort of 3 things that you see your end that people could be doing better when it comes to Shopify and e-commerce?
Yeah, the 3 things. So they are the most common thing that I see across the board is just a lack of planning.
Yeah,
and that's such an easy thing for me to say, but you're trying to run multiple things all at the same time, and e-commerce is just another bloody thing to think about. But when I say lack of planning, it's more along the lines of lack of planning from not understanding who your audience really is, and then what your brand story is, or what your messaging is, and that's really important when you're trying to sell to people online.
Yeah.
And so that's those would be the most common things. Other things are just simple conversion rate optimization issues on your website. So it's think of it as a buyer. When you come to a website, usually you're coming to a website from a social media platform, and you're on a phone. So a lot of people, when they're designing their websites, they are designing their websites from a desktop perspective, because they're on a desktop when they're designing it. And so it's just an easy thing to think about is every time you're designing a website or an e-commerce website, you need to be designing it for a mobile phone first. And that's an easy thing you can do on Shopify. And then you should optimize for desktop, because most purchasing decisions would be made from desktop, but initially the first impression needs to look good from a mobile phone. And so when you're looking at a e-com website from a mobile phone, is there a compelling impact statement that's telling me everything I need to know about the business or about the product in one statement? And is there an actual button for me to click? Because if there isn't, I wonder if I'm going to scroll or not. And can I, as your customer, can I see myself? Is it my tribe? Is it a place where I can see myself with? So ensuring that there's actually some real social proof in there. It's crazy. Like I don't have the statistic in front of me, but it's in the 80 something % of people trust a review like they would trust a review from a neighbor or a testimonial from a neighbor or a family member. And so it's pretty massive to have that. So like to recap, ensure you know who your audience is and being able to communicate to them about it. Make sure you design for mobile, optimize for desktop, and then you want a powerful impact statement and a call to action above the fold, or the first thing that people see when they come to your website.
Wicked. I think that's so powerful. I was watching something about that recently, about how people can often forget to just give people the access to what they're trying to purchase straight away. Like, don't hide it from them. Give it to them. Click here to buy this, and then you're telling them what to do, right? And like you say, above the fold. So that's one of the first things they're thinking about.
Yeah, being clear is kind to you and your customers.
Being clear is kind. Is that because historically, like, we've just wanted to have these amazingly sexy landing pages and all these types of things, but we're so attention poor now that we just want to get straight to the point? Is that what's happening behind that?
100%. I don't know about you, Luke, but I'm a 44-year-old who spends way too long on TikTok. And so attention spans are definitely, and even on a TikTok now, if you haven't got a good hook on a TikTok, I'm flicking up. I'm moving past your content, and that's on TikTok. Imagine what you're getting trained by TikTok to be even more ruthless for ecom.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it's definitely you need to be. That's why understanding who your audience is critical.
Wicked.
And then then once you've finally got them, got your audience, and they're navigating through your site, and they make a conversion, whether or not they're signing up to your email list or actually making a purchase, then you can do your cute stuff, your on brand beautiful stuff, and nurture that customer through your email marketing.
Mate, I don't know if you're allowed to, because it might be breaching some of the rules in which your job operates under as such, but are you able to give us any examples that we could potentially look up of businesses that are using Shopify that are crushing it and that have really spent some money refining it and spent some time on that? And if you can't, that's fine, but whether there's some things that those people do that perhaps other people aren't doing, beyond what those 3 suggestions before were, that just makes them greater?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I can recommend some companies, but they're all like massive, awesome, huge ones that we have official case studies with. To be honest, if you just go to Google and type in Shopify case studies, you'll see a bunch. But like my favorite one at the moment, it's probably because I'm a retailer, is Culture Kings. And that's purely for the fact that they're actually launched a shop in Auckland and Sylvia Park. But what I love about them is they bring they're known for their retail experience. The DJs in store, all that sort of stuff. And they also have really high quality sales staff in their retail shops. And so, like, if you go in there and you're like, you got a particular style you wanna get, the retail staff will really help you, achieve what you're wanting to do. But the cool thing is they replicate that online as well. So their retail staff create these looks and these bundles that you can actually purchase online. And they have a really wicked reward system as well. And they're constantly dropping new styles. And they really create this amazing hype. So Culture Kings for me is one that I like. There's so many other ones, but what I think the definition for me, the reason why these guys are so successful is because they've really tapped into who their audience are, and they communicate to the audience as the audience.
Yeah, wicked. Okay, understand your audience. Yeah, that's you would have seen this a lot more than I, but I've noticed so many younger people starting a clothing brand effectively, and they getting traffic off Instagram or via podcast, and they're doing the whole build the audience up the top. People find their way to the community, they love it, then they want to associate it with a purchase of a piece of merch, and they're buying that and rocking around in that so that they know that they're a part of that. And is that just happening just day in, day out now?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think in Shopify and other platforms, but I'd say Shopify is a big part of that. The barrier to entry to starting your own side hustle and then creating an empire is the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like what, 20 something, or how much in New Zealand dollars? I think it's like 50 New Zealand dollars a month, and you've got a full-fledged business racking out. And then add a few other add-ons. You could even do print on demand. Which means you don't even have to print or create, make the stock. You just create the designs to get printed on it. And you could go global with cool, interesting designs. So yeah, the barrier to entry, I think, is the reason why kids these days or younger people are like, and the other thing I think it was also like, they can create this business, give it a go. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. And that's okay. It's not like, I remember building my first website, paying for it. It cost me $20,000.
Far out, yeah.
And like now it's $29. I can, especially with what's happening with Shopify right now. We've just launched our 2.0 operating system, which just makes things just way easier to design, makes it way cleaner, way faster. And so now, like you could. With a little bit of design skills, like if you knew, how to match colors right, and you did some stuff in Canva, you could have all of your website and your e-commerce site live in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, eh? Are we a little bit far behind still here in New Zealand of just using these platforms and thinking bigger and thinking globally? Because even just before you saying you can start a global brand, like that's just such not the Kiwi thing to say. We're like, oh, okay, how could I sell 100 hoodies to my mates in New Zealand, and you'd be pretty happy, rather than being like, how do I create a global brand? But because you're looking at the stuff every day and seeing it's possible, you must, your brain knows it's possible. But are we still a little bit further behind here in New Zealand?
In terms of e-com in general, we are. Like if you look in the States, they I think it's 20 or 25% of all retail sales are online now. And then in the APAC region, you're looking at around 15.5% of all retail sales are online. And then you look at New Zealand and we're only at 11.
Wow.
So, which says to me, holy crap, better start an e-com shop because there's heaps of opportunity because it's only going to improve.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say we are. Like, it's funnily enough though, there are quite a few brands that I don't know if I'm allowed to say that are New Zealand based or New Zealand founded that are doing quite well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and all in other respects, some of the things that Kiwi brands do that are innovative, are innovative. So yeah, I guess it all comes down to the individual. There are tens of thousands of Shopify merchants in New Zealand, but we could always have a couple more.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Being an accountant, pretty geeky and love talking to clients about margin and stuff. And one of the ways to improve your margins is by adding on an upsell to the things that you are selling when it comes to e-commerce or even in services as well. Have you seen anyone really crushing it with an upsell option? Or got any thoughts on how people can go about that for their store and do it in a simple way so that they can bolt on a bit of margin to the person that they're already selling and sold to?
What's the number one thing that people hate paying, Luke?
Shipping?
Well, no, I thought you were going to say taxes.
Oh, or accounting fees? Yeah, taxes? probably
yeah, those three things, right? Accountancy fees, taxes, and shipping. And so a real easy way to increase your average order value, and this is just purely from my experience as well, is create a free shipping threshold.
Yeah.
Like look at if you are an existing e-com seller, look at your average order value today, and let's just say it's $65. So add 35% or 30% to that 60, and then let's create a free shipping threshold, say $85 or $90. So you get free shipping if you spend $85 with us. And then what you'll see over a very short period of time, usually about a month or two, your average order value will increase over time. It's just uncanny how you can peg that. So that's a real easy tip for any e-com person. I'd have a free shipping threshold. The other thing I would do is I would make your shipping price expensive as well.
Okay.
I would like our shipping cost is that I have in my retail shop is $9.70, which is expensive.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is that it pays for my freight. It pays for the people that buy that spend over my free shipping threshold, and it gives everybody an example. They're like, well, why would I spend $9.70 on shipping when I'm $10 away from getting free shipping? So then they'll go and they'll add to the cart. So that's one very blunt instrument that just always works. And you don't have to be afraid of your customers complaining because they won't. They just won't. I've increased our free shipping threshold multiple times, and we haven't had a mutiny yet. Then the other thing that I highly recommend you do is you create some bundles and you create some add-ons. Usually the idea would be you have your top selling product, whatever that is, find a complementary product that goes with that you can buy at a reasonable profit margin, and then offer it as an upsell. And what you'll find is your average order value will go up, and it'll be way more profitable for you. But yeah, that's basically the mechanism to make more money with e-com is how the question you need to be asking yourself is, how can I increase my average order value? Because as soon as you've got someone ordering product and they're ordering more of it, you've got more profit.
Yeah. Okay. Wicked. And how many of the merchants that you see, like how many neglect customers once they've sold to them and don't understand the importance of actually building a database and emailing to them regularly, or actually keeping in touch with them in the future?
That's such a good question, because it's like the journey doesn't stop when people convert and buy product from you. You've got that most of your customers actually want to hear from you.
Yeah.
They actually do. They actually believe they don't necessarily just want the thing to fix the problem. They actually believe in your mission and your story most of the time. And so you've got an opportunity to resell to them and remind them that you have other things, and that you can sell other things, or maybe that product would be a fantastic product for their neighbor or their family member. And what's happened with the changes with iOS 14 with Apple making it harder to sell things to people via Facebook. There's been a resurgence of email marketing. Email marketing has always been there, but it's always been, what did someone say? It's always been the forgotten cousin.
Yeah.
At the party. And so now email marketing is back and on vogue. And if it's not a cornerstone of your marketing strategy, then you're missing out. You're leaving money on the table. So my advice to you would be to have a really ask for reviews, ask people how things went. Have an abandoned cart strategy as well. Use email automation. There are really good email programs out there. Like MailChimp's a good one. Klaviyo is the one I use and love. But really incorporate some sort of nurture campaign in there. I'd send an email to your customers. If you're not sending any emails or any newsletters or any communications to your customers at all, I'd start with once a month. And then once you get comfortable with that, I'd be moving it up to once a week. And then if you're comfortable with that, then and your customers are comfortable with that, and they're not unsubscribing, I'd try 2 a week.
Yeah, wicked.
And so on.
That's so important. We've seen a client and they do like a weekly best buy, and they just crush it. Just email every week to their database of all purchases over all time of the business. Hey, here's our weekly best buy, and you've probably got better stats than I, but I think it's roughly 3% of people are ready to purchase something that you put in front of them at any one time, right? So, you're just leaving money on the table if you're not doing, something in that space, because you've worked so hard to get them to purchase from you already that, they're probably going to come back at some stage and want to do it again.
100%. Email marketing has a 6.5% conversion rate comparatively to your normal conversion rate.
Yeah.
And that's high. 6.5% high. And so you need to be collecting emails. You need to be, you own your email marketing list. You don't own your Facebook page or your Instagram page. It could turn off tomorrow.
Yep. I've seen it happen.
Like if you talk to Viv from Instagram, she with her business, they had it turned off for days. She was lucky to get it back.
Yeah.
But having a email marketing list is important. Like every time Body Effect sends an email to our lists, we make money, and also our customers get great deals, great info. So like what do you call it now? Edutainment.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what you should be doing. You should be either educating or entertaining your customers via your email, via your content. And then give them a call to action, and then you'll typically make money.
I think Kiwis, are a bit scared they get scared to get people unsubscribed because they think that's like such this crazy thing to happen and such a bad look, and then they're scared to make offers to people because we've got that like anti-sales type behaviour that we've learnt growing up from somewhere. But people are spending, and they're spending in record amounts, and buying online in record amounts. So people want the things that they want, and as business owners, it's our job to figure out how to get those things in front of them, right?
Yeah, you know what's easier than unsubscribing from an email?
Deleting.
Yep.
Yeah, or not opening.
And we all do it. We all do that, right?
Yeah.
We all do it. Like it takes me a lot to unsubscribe from an email list these days.
Yeah.
And then maybe every 6 months I'll go, right, I've got enough of this stuff in my email box, and I'll go on a mass cull. But then funnily enough, I end up missing, I go missing the thing I unsubscribe from, and then I go and resubscribe. So I think it's for me, it's the number one strategy to have. Yeah, and it's funny though, like it took me and Yolanda, I think I told you this before, like 5 or 6 years to have the guts to actually send an email campaign to our customers.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like such a long time. I'm like thinking, man, the amount of but like people that sign up to your list are doing it on purpose.
Yeah, true.
So maybe you should send them some communication.
Yeah, I think there's a distinct difference there, right? Because it's those, like often people end up on lists and they go, how did I end up on here? And you're quick to delete and unsubscribe from those things. But things where you've actually purchased from or been to something or interacted with it and you're getting an email, it's, you're fine with it. And so I think people need to remember that if you're collecting people's email addresses, part of them transacting with you is actually handing that information over. And if they don't like it, eventually they will unsubscribe, and hey, that is what it is. Let people carry on.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of why having a good pop-up or a good email collection strategy is so important. So if people are unsubscribing, you're filling it up from the other end as well. Yeah. And it's I've got some customers that have ordered from us over a couple of hundred times, and real grateful for having that amazing customer base. But there is a life cycle.
Yeah.
With everything, and so you have to be aware of that, and always be filling that bucket up.
How are you for time, mate? I know you're a busy man.
I'm good.
You good? Hey, any add-ons that people are using successfully and that people could be giving a Google or thinking about?
Yeah, well, if you're not using Shopify right now, our new theme Dawn, it's free theme. It's for me, I spent a whole bunch of money on a theme, and if I hadn't, I probably would be totally fine with the Dawn theme. So I would definitely go and check out the Dawn theme. It's beautiful. It's really easy. It's got all the bells and whistles that I think any e-com brand would want to use. But then other add-ons, it's funny. Like people say to me, what would be in your tech stack? Like what would you use today with the knowledge that you've got? And for me, it's a real simple stack. It's I would use Shopify for e-commerce. I would use Klaviyo for email marketing. Klaviyo does my pop-up forms. It does my newsletters. It does all my email automation. I'd use Thinkific for selling courses and digital content. If you've got knowledge and stuff, you could use Thinkific for that, which is a really, really good platform. And then I'd use Xero for my accounting. And then there's another app that is ridiculously basic, but just always just makes me money, and it's called Selly, Sally, and that does a whole bunch of things. It does bundling, it does free shipping threshold notification, so it tells my customers, hey, you've got $70 in your cart, spend $20 more and you get free shipping, but then it does a whole bunch of other stuff. It does like I mentioned before, bundling, upsells, cross-sells, all sorts of stuff. And that's just done one app that does a bunch. It's real basic though, but it does. The thing I think people worry about is if it's too basic, maybe it doesn't do the work. But for me, I think the opposite. I think the more basic, the better.
Yeah. Nice. It's definitely something I've learned along the way. Like I was guilty for a few years there of, wanting to jump at the shiny object and this new software and tech that was coming out and stuff, and to see how complicated it was and think this is amazing, but the simple things always seem to be the things that work better. So that's called Sally, Sally, I think you said, and
it's an app you can get on the Shopify App Store.
Okay, so people want to check that out. So that's going to help people understand things around like average order value, and then bundling and the things to do around shipping and stuff like that too, right? If they're maybe not as confident to try and decide those things for themselves.
Yeah, well, if it'll help you do the thing, so it'll help you create an upsell. It'll help you create a little button on your site to do that. If you want to learn anything about that, Shopify itself has some really awesome free knowledge, and you don't have to be a Shopify merchant to go to our free courses. And if these courses or if this learning portal existed when I was a Shopify merchant, I would have made less mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's you just can go to shopify.co.nz/learn, And we have like, full on courses for anything you could think of, like real short ones, tutorials, everything. And it could be like, how to make how to create your own print on demand empire, right through to, selling on Instagram, right through to how to increase your average order value, to Facebook advertising, advanced Facebook advertising. Also, most of it, a lot, it encompasses everything, but a lot of it is marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Which is a huge part of ecom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like an online university effectively for, you could skip uni, go straight into that and start with an idea and start practicing some of those things and probably get yourself quite far down the track and build a nice little business.
100%. I was saying to the guys at the Young Enterprise Scheme this year, like go here and commit to doing 2 hours a week on here. And by the end of the year, you'll probably have enough idea of some genius idea or some struggling moment that you've had during the year where you're like, oh, maybe I should start this business. And then pull out Dad's credit card for $29 a month and start it.
Off you go. What's the randomest thing you've seen being sold through Shopify, mate?
Vintage coat hangers.
Wow. What the hell are they? I love how that came to you so quickly.
No, because it's still with me. I was working for Shopify about nearly at the start of my career 3 years ago on doing support for Shopify, and a guy was having a problem with his domain name or something, and then I logged into his account to have a look, and he was selling vintage coat hangers. So these are coat hangers that were made in the 1800s and 1900s that are like grouped into coat hangers by different types of different decades, and have prices on them. I'll try and find a site, but that was the most random thing.
Far out. What's the most successful thing apart from Body FX?
Oh, the most successful. Man, there's there's heaps of things. I'm just trying to work out if I'm allowed to tell. The most successful thing is coming to my mind straight away, but I'm like, I can't tell you that one.
Types of, like, is it a type of product or is it a...
Yeah, well, clothing brands are really popular on Shopify.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty easy to like you said before, create a community and then drop products too. I saw a really interesting one with this person selling these really bespoke stickers, which were like limited edition stickers. The thing I'm really interested about and think that one day it will happen is being able to sell physical products with NFTs.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about what the possibilities there and what will happen. I'm sure Shopify will do something awesome around that.
Yeah, I was about to say, is Shopify doing anything in that crypto space with having to stay ahead of the market and keep an eye on what people are expecting and even payment through crypto?
You can, you're already, but you do payment through crypto on Shopify. It's just another gateway you can add. Yeah. So that's been there for a couple of years already. But yeah, I think I haven't dived into Shopify's product vault for this chat, but it's funny, like I've got the Shopify changelog on my bookmarks and I check it every Friday because I have to, because it's just changing so often. So I'd say if Shopify isn't doing something in crypto, that would be weird.
Yeah, for sure.
That would, and I like that's on me being hand on heart. I have no freaking idea, man.
Yeah.
but that would be weird if they would. Hey, they're pretty. It's a pretty innovative company, and they are. Yeah. They definitely are leading the charge in e-com.
I saw something today, mate, and it's probably it's a little bit tangent, but that Spotify are creating some way for people to be able to order what their favorite artists are selling. So you might have an artist that you like listening to, and they'll be able to list like 3 items of merchandise, for instance, that they can purchase through the Spotify app. I don't know how far away that is or who like the back end of that is, but basically they're just talking about how that's here so much of that people want to buy their favorite artist merchandise and those types of things. And like you said before, you you've got all the tools you need now to be able to use print on demand, for instance. I know we do that for BGP, for Boys Get Paid, and we've got a Shopify site. People come to it, they can pick the things they want, and the order gets fulfilled for them, and the inquiry is very low at our end. It's more, we just got to design some things, and then we get a little bit of the margin, but it allows people to represent BGP as well and get the things that they want to wear, and it's pretty hands-off. So it's an interesting time to be alive, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's funny, as a Shopify employee, when I go to a barbecue and I tell people where I work, they always usually reply going, "Oh, wow, that's really cool that you work for Spotify." So as a employee, I was stoked to see that the confusion was going to get even more apparent with this agreement. But it is a crazy time to be alive. Like, essentially what it means is that no matter what platform you're going to be on as a consumer, you're going to be able to buy the thing you love and support the person that, or the brand that you love.
Yeah.
And whether that's on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Google, wherever wherever you are, you'll be able to do that. Which is pretty awesome, because it means that as a brand, you can pick which channels that you're strong in and double down on that.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens in the next 1, let alone 5 years.
Yeah. It's all going in the same direction, isn't it? Hey, a couple of questions for you. Can Shopify can it do auctions, and are people using the subscription function?
Yeah. So, what do you mean by options? What do you mean by that?
Auctions. So, could I run an auction?
Auctions.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. You can. Great question around auctions. I think there's an app that you can get to do that. To be honest, Shopify's ecosystem is really interesting. So we've built the ecosystem so that you can sell products really well. Yeah. And then and so we say that we've built 80%. We do 80% real well. For the other 20%, we rely on our partner ecosystem to help us out. And so I'm not 100% sure because it's not in front of me, but I would probably bet the house that there'd be an app for auctions. Yeah. Subscriptions, yes, definitely. It's funny. I actually took a week off work last week so I could build out Body Effects' subscription service.
No way.
You can totally do subscriptions, which is really, really neat.
I love how you take a week off to then build out a subscription service.
Take a week off so I can work more. Yeah.
And no doubt it was just a 60-hour week as well.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, in the middle of Halloween.
Yeah. Is that based around anything for you, where you're seeing that there's more people go down that subscription route, or you're looking at recurring revenue and then that multiplier effect for value of business? Like, what's driving your thinking there?
Being able to predict profit.
Yeah.
That pretty much, that's the nirvana for an accountant.
Yeah.
And if it's nirvana for an accountant, then it should be a nirvana for a business owner.
Yeah.
And so so the idea there is like, well, because that's always the problem. Like, if I'm spending X amount of money advertising, but I can't comfortably predict the profit, that's hard.
Yeah.
And so if I can, if I know that I spend $1,000 for the subscription service and know that I'm going to get 10,000 back, then that's, then I can scale that easily. Yep. And so the issue is that and the subscription service we're offering is a hybrid model, so it's product and knowledge, nice. Product and courses.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that they get product and then they get access to knowledge and courses. Okay. And so the cost for us is creating all that, all those courses, the initial cost. But then if we scale that out to where we think it will go, the profit is really, really worth it. So yeah.
What do you house the courses on? Thinkific, is that what you said before, right?
Yeah. Thinkific. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. And that.
Because I struggle with courses, mate. Because I look internationally and I get it, but then I look at New Zealanders and I think, do Kiwis actually go on and do a course? And I know you're not looking just at New Zealand customers, but is that coming and I just need to be patient, and it's just going to become a bigger and bigger space? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely a bigger and bigger space. Like the I think with the lockdowns have definitely are training people to get online more.
Yeah.
And also think about the players in the market now. Like there's that company called the Mind Lab. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
They do really good. They normally do really good in real life courses as well for business owners, but they've pivoted over the last couple of years to being like one of New Zealand's biggest players around that market, and it's all virtual stuff. And so I think Kiwis are jumping on, and the other thing is the beautiful thing about signing up to these sorts of courses is most of the time they're there forever. So whether or not you're attending immediately, you got people are going back and learning on their own time.
Yeah, wicked. It's we've got a couple of courses for BGP actually, and then one's free and very simple, and then the other is a bit more technical. And it was probably one of those things where I did the entrepreneurial, like, right, I would like this, so I'll build it. Everyone's going to want it, and it was like, hey, cool, mate, I don't want this, and I'm not paying for it. But every now and then someone signs up and pays for it, and it's that reminder of like, oh, sweet, that's true passive income. That's where you're getting money come in from something, work that you've done in the past, and it's built. And people can learn from it. So yeah, I do think that space is just going to get bigger and bigger. I just wonder if again, like if Kiwis can transition to accepting that they can learn from online, or even YouTube, for instance, has been such a good tool for me over the past few years, trying to just upskill at some of the smaller things in business, and when I'm playing with different things and learning about things and seeing that it's all there. But people are like, oh, why do you pay for YouTube Premium? Like, what a waste of money. Whereas for me, it's like this has been a better spend than my university degree.
100%. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I guess being on the being a pimple on the bottom arse of the world, where we've got I guess we do that, like we like eyeballing each other.
Yeah.
Maybe, and also I guess the status thing of I've gone to uni has been a thing, but. I'd say the people that my son's 14 and my daughter's 16. Will they go to university? I don't know. I wonder. I think my son will probably end up doing a Stan Winston online course around costume design and mold making, and Layla might, but I think she'll probably end up doing a whole bunch of short courses online first, because that's kind of where they're sitting all the time. So I think for online courses, the future's bright. That market is already consuming content online, and they probably end up doing their training online too.
Yeah.
And you're right though. One question I have for you though is, how you built the thing and people didn't necessarily respond straight away. But when the people bought the thing, have you called them and asked them? Like, have you interviewed them?
No, I haven't. I've been very slack because it's one of those things that I got real excited about at the start, and then was like, oh, maybe not. But yeah, I could probably seek some feedback from them and find out how it could be better.
Yeah, it's funny because we did that. We had a subscription service for this thing, and Yolanda was like, it's not good enough. We're not getting the results we require. Let's just put a pin in it. And I said, no, I'm calling everyone. And so I called everyone over a weekend. Which is funny, and it was really interesting. We worked out that the people we designed it for weren't the people buying it, and the people that were buying it were a way bigger and more lucrative market than what we designed it for, and we just had to change our messaging. So
nice.
Highly recommend calling your customer.
Yeah, that's a goodie. Keep it simple. Get on the phone and find out the real answers. Get the real feedback.
Well, it's funny, because most people don't interview their customers.
Yeah.
They don't, So if you are new to any business and e-com, I would really recommend calling your first 50 customers and asking them, like, well, why did you buy? Get into their heads a bit more, because it's going to help you really understand who your audience is and be able to improve your messaging.
Great tip there, mate. I think some people might be scared to pick up the phone and call 50 people to think, oh, that's going to be tough. But even chuck something on your Instagram for the people that have purchased and run a quick question box saying, hey, why did you purchase? But you're going to be able to go deeper if you call them, right, mate? I don't want to. Oh, you go.
I was just going to say, well, yeah, send them an email or one question, and the people that reply, they're keen to hear from you.
Yeah, nice. Mate, I've got so many takeaways from this chat, and I'm just going to go through a few and make sure that I don't miss anything that's really, really important. But firstly, people can check out Body FX if they Google it. I think that's going to be a great resource for people to keep an eye on what you're doing with that website, given the knowledge and insight that you have into the market. So they can find you by Googling Body FX, right?
Yep. Yeah. Sign up. Go to BodyFX, bodyfx.co.nz or bodyfxshop.com. We're just transitioning at the moment from Shopify 1.0 to 2.0 theme, so it's a bit slow. But feel free to sign up to our emailing list and see what I mean about. I'll back up my email marketing. So yeah,
nice.
Sign it up and see what you think.
Good. Might give some people some ideas out there around things that they can do as well, but for their own products, of course. And then, so average order quantity, the upsell piece, and figure out ways that you could be improving that. So your suggestion was take your average order value and increase it by 30 to 35%, and then look at making that the rate at which people then get free shipping. And I think that sounds like a really nice general rule that people can take. Can they run a report out of Shopify to get their average order value?
Yeah, it's on the dashboard straight away. You'll see your conversion rates, how many people have, what the sessions are, like how many people have come, where they've come from, like, have they come from Google or Facebook, who's using, who's looking at your site from a mobile phone, who's looking at it from a desktop. Then you'll see your average order value.
Sweet.
And it's all there.
And another thing, have an abandoned cart strategy. You need that, and also that email piece there. What are you doing with your email marketing? We know that those conversions work, so let's get something going in that space. When you talked about asking for reviews, is that Google reviews or any forms of reviews? And then what's the best way to repurpose some of those things?
Yeah, cool. There's a free app, free Shopify review app that you just use, and that'll have a little review button. But yeah, and as part of your email marketing strategy, I would be asking people after they've received their product what they thought about it, and ask them to review it either on preferably I would ask for reviews on my product page about the product. But if you've got a lot of them, then maybe asking for some Google reviews helps, especially if you've got a physical location. That those stars help.
Wicked.
Those reviews help people.
I think it's a good thing for us business owners to remember too, is when we have a good business experience, then don't be shy or stingy when it comes to giving reviews, because they do make such a huge difference to potentially the next purchaser or a ranking or SEO and all those types of things, right? So hand them out where they're due.
100%. Yeah, definitely. And I really try my hardest to do that, because a review, a good or bad, and also if you've had a 1-star review needs to be a diabolical experience. It can't be because you were a shit customer.
Yeah.
Because those do really hurt.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, we get offended by those too, don't we? And I think what I've found and what I like is when people take their reviews, say they're from Google or wherever, and actually repurpose them as content. So it might be a story content on Instagram. Recently for Next Advisory, we went through and took all of our Google reviews that we know could be seen by more people and added them as a highlight on Instagram, so that people can actually go and read through other people's words on how they would explain us. So
well, take that tip as well and multiply it. Look, grab those reviews, especially if they're about a product, and add them to your product descriptions.
Nice.
Because your customers can talk about your product differently than you.
Yeah.
And so if you just grab that verbiage and put it in there, then it just makes it more meaningful.
Easy as that. Cool, mate. Right. Well, that has been absolutely insightful and outstanding, as I knew it would be. I took 3 pages of notes while we were talking, mate. So there you go. I was
awesome.
I was learning at the same time. I really like this stuff. I'm not entirely sure why. I just like business in general, but it's always, there's so much to learn, and I feel like you must you probably get bored of having some of the same conversations, but I'd imagine it's hard to get bored in this space because there's just always ways that you can improve it, and it's always changing, right? And you must have some cool stories where you've seen people pop up a store that's gone beyond their expectations, and all of a sudden they've got a viable business that's going to be sustainable for the future.
Oh, and yeah, the amount of people I've met that have had an amazing, or had an idea, and then now it's just been a side hustle, and then all of a sudden it's turned into they've quit their jobs, and it's their thing, and they are a brand all of a sudden. It's insane. So yeah, I've got the best job on planet Earth. Get to meet with really inspiring founders and business owners and their staff, and help them make more money. It's quite the dream job.
Outstanding. All right, mate. Well, people, if they want to get in touch with you and they've got some questions, then they can come to shopifyaotearoa.co.nz to book a time to have a chat with you. They won't disappoint. I'm sure they'll learn something. I suggest.
Or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go. LinkedIn as well. Get to bodyfx.co.nz. Sign up to that email list as well to see some of the ways that Julian is getting people to convert over time and keep them engaged. And just, I guess, stay close to that Shopify content space so that people can continue to learn, right, and improve what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, it's not hard to start a Shopify store and have a side hustle. And to be honest, I think it's the best way to learn.
Yeah, by doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tend to agree, mate. I'm a bit of a learner by doing. All right, mate. Well, thank you so much for your time yet again. That has been absolutely outstanding, mate. And I'm sure we will talk further in the future with some of those things. But as well, people can potentially look at the merchants that are listening to this could look at coming to those meetups on Mondays, right? They're virtual?
Yeah. Monday merchant meetups, yeah.
There you go, 11 till 12:30, an hour and a half of learning. Invest into yourself and into your business. Cool, mate. I will let you go and I'll wrap this up. But thanks again, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, Luke. You have a wonderful rest of your day. See you,
Cheers, mate. See ya.
Bye.
There we go. If you're still listening, you'll be probably much like myself and have pages and pages of notes there. Jules is an absolute champion in this space, and he's had experience in this for coming up 10 years now, and to the point where he's gone and worked for Shopify to help other merchants all across New Zealand to improve their Shopify experience that they're giving to people and basically improve their business. And that's something that resonates massively with Phil and I, and we hope that has been a piece of content for you that has really helped you think about some of the things that you might want to do in your e-commerce brand. Hey, maybe you don't even use Shopify. That's all good as well. There's some principles in there that you can take away and go, look, am I doing those things? And if I'm not, I'd suggest make a list of the things that you think you could do and build that into a priority list, and then slowly start to tick them off from the ones that are going to give you the most bang for buck, so that you can see the reward for effort that you put in when you implement some of these things that are being tried and tested by businesses all across New Zealand who are using these same principles. So if you found that useful, we would love a 5-star review like we're talking about before with reviews. If you're listening on the Apple podcast there, for instance, or even if you want to go and leave a Google review for us, that would mean a lot that you've learned from these podcasts, or pay it forward by chucking this podcast onto your Instagram story and say that you've been learning with Next Advisory. Who knows, you might just introduce the next business owner to this content and help them to improve their business and improve their life. Right. We will see you later in the week when Phil and I will link up and rip through another podcast for you as well. In the meantime, keep up the good work, keep working hard, and we will talk to you very, very soon.